Well, hello everybody. Um, so as far as the coupe goes, I've spent the last like 6.5 weeks doing body work and stuff on it. Um, and I think I've got it good enough to where I can put like a final primer coat on and then just block sand it and then color it. So I'm using basically all the paints I got and stuff is the Summit brand. Uh, and I'm using a 2K urethane. Um, both primer and single stage paint is 2K urethane. And even though they say you don't need reducer with that primer, it's pretty thick, and I don't really need a really thick high build primer, so I'm adding some reducer to that also. Hopefully it'll spray out nice and smooth, and won't take me much to sand it down getting ready for color. But I already painted like the interior and the trunk all the way to the red color that I'm using. To get to that red color, I had to take the Summit Performance Red, which is, I thought was a darker red, but man, it's super bright. It's like a fingernail polish bright red. Anyway, I added a half a quart of Summit brand British racing green to it, and then that darkened it up enough for me that I like. But I'll show you that later on in the video. But for now, I'm just going to spray a couple coats of primer on there. Alright, got two coats of primer on. Came out pretty good. I had a couple problems. One of them was my hose hit the side of the car here a little bit, and the other one was plastic blew up and hit the lower quarter panel. But after the second coat, it's not bad. That'll easily sand out. But yeah, came out pretty good. So now I'll block that down to 400, I think, before I spray the single stage red on there. But anyway, all the areas where I chopped it and stuff look real good. Look nice and straight. quarter panel. This one was probably the worst shape, and it's pretty good. Looks pretty good if you look down the side of it. But it's getting there. Now another week of sanding, and then it might be ready for some color. I also got these smaller items primed too. They'll be ready to sand down, ready for color. Windshield frame, quarter window interior, garnish moldings, door parts, dash parts, visor. Yeah, got that sprayed. That's good. A little bit more progress. Alright, I'm all set up to paint. The weather broke. It's pretty nice out today. It's about almost 60 degrees in the garage here. And I'll show you what I'm using. I've used all Summit brand stuff. Seems to go pretty good. Single stage acrylic urethane paint. I ordered Performance Red. On their website it looked like their darkest red. But when I got it, it was like a fingernail polish bright red. And I'm like, there's no way I'm spraying that on the car. So got on the internet and looked up how to darken red. And it said to use the opposite side of the color wheel. So the opposite side of the color wheel of red is green. So what I did is I ordered a quart of Summit British Racing Green. And I mixed it with my 2 gallons of paint, so half a quart per gallon or 1 quart per 2 gallons, and it darkened it up real nice darker red. I already painted some of the body parts, the interior and the trunk and the firewall and stuff, and I like that color now. It's a darker red, so that worked out pretty well. And then I'm using the low temp reducer because it's below 70 degrees. And fast activator also. I bought a spray gun, Euro Pro HE Astro. It's got a 1.3 tip on it, and I'm spraying at 29 psi. And the Summit stuff is supposed to be like 4 parts to 1, and it says you don't need reducer, but let me tell you, this stuff's pretty thick, and I've been reducing it 4 to 1 to 1, and it's still kind of thick. They say you can reduce it up to 10%, and 4 to 1 to 1 to 1 is like 25% reduction. So I don't know if I should go much farther than that or not, but anyway, that's what I've been doing, and it's been doing okay. It's still got a little bit of orange peel in it, but it's okay. It doesn't run, that's nice. But yeah, I'll try to put a little bit more reducer in it maybe. But 4 to 1 to 1 with a reducer. And yeah, well, let's get going. Got my garage set up here. I kind of got plastic from the walls and stuff. It's not really a spray booth because I know it's going to get dust and crap in it. But it's more like an overspray reduction area. And it will help reduce some of the dust. I'm going to put a mop to the floor right before I spray. That'll help also. But then I am going to open up my garage door and just, you know, let the air flow. So anyway, I bought myself a, what is it, a Hobby Air forced air hood system. It's really nice, I like it. And I bought it on eBay for a pretty good deal. Had to buy a new hood, but saved some money there. And you know, this stuff they say is really, really bad for you, so I didn't even want to take a chance. It's worth my lungs to spend. I spent $300 on the Hobby Air, so, and you know, I could always resell it and recoup most, if not all, of my money. So it's better to save your lungs, be safe than sorry. Anyway, that's just me. So anyway, enough talking. Let's get to painting. Alright, well, next day, took off the masking, got her all painted up. It came out okay, but being in the garage, man, there's just a lot of crap in the paint. And also, even though I have, my air compressor has, let me show you, you know, these pipes that run up the wall and stuff to help cool and condense the air. And then I have a water separator there, the regulator, and another water separator. And then on the end of my gun, I had like this last chance water separator also. But I think there was still moisture, because if you look, I don't know if I can get it in there. If you look in there, you can see like little teeny tiny spots. And I don't know if that's water or maybe like, I don't think it's dust. And I don't think it's like solvent pop. But, I mean, it could be solvent pop. But anyway, you can see, let me try to, I just don't know if the camera's going to be able to pick it up. Anyway, there's just little, I believe, what's moisture in there. I mean, it came out smooth and everything, and it's nice, shiny, but it just has that stuff all over it. Almost looks like metallic, but it's not. But anyway, I think, I'm hoping that if I color sand, maybe that will come out. Oh, I know, you can probably see it on the hood worst. The hood, or the gas tank cover, is like the worst. You can kind of see it in the lower left corner there where the light's reflecting. See all that crap? So, I don't know what that is. I mean, it was pretty dusty in here with overspray. I don't know if overspray would do that. Overspray, I would think, would be more like a dry, like a, you know, fine sandpaper grit type of feeling, but it's not. I mean, it is bumpy, but anyway, all right, enough on that. Anyway, it's painted, came out decent. That paint, I think, sprays on pretty thick, so I put on just 2 coats. I didn't want to put on 3 because I think it would just be way too much. You know, I didn't want shit cracking. So, 2 good coats, and now I got to figure out, I'm going to let it sit. It says to let it sit for at least 24 hours before color sanding, so I'm going to let it sit. I got to get some sandpaper and stuff anyway. I don't have a buffer. I have to pick that up. But, anyway, the paint is on there. I'm not like super happy with it, but it's not like bad either, you know. I mean, I got one run. Kind of dark on this side. One run like right here, but it's really small. I mean, for the whole car, one little run is not bad. But there's those little dots. I don't know what the hell that is. If anything else, I guess I could take 600 grit, sand it all back down, try to figure out my moisture problem, and then respray it. But, you know, I might have the same frickin' problem. I don't know. But my first attempt here is to color sand that out and polish it up. So we'll see. But everything's got red on it, and I do like the shade of red. Not like super bright red or anything. It's a darker red, almost like that epoxy primer that I had on there, which I liked that type of look. But this is just shiny and a little bit nicer, like real paint. All right, dash is all done. Anyway, I got a couple more parts to paint. I got the 2 doors and my hood tops to paint, and then everything will have color on it. But again, I want to figure out my moisture problem, so alright, continuing on. Alright, so a quick pass, just a really quick pass with 1000 grit, and what that does is it highlights all these dust nibs, like right there. There, and so on. You can see it just highlights them. Then I'll go through and I'll hit each one of those with 1500 grit. Looks like a bug there. 1500 grit, knock those down. And then I'll go back through again. Alright, just to kind of show you, dust nib, 1500 grit, folded in thirds. Just kind of lightly get at it like that. Kind of doing a crosshatch on that area, wiping it as I go, and then you can see once it dries, it's kind of knocked out of there. So that's good enough for now. I'll do that to all these nibs, and then I'll go back and block sand it. Okay, so this is how it looks once it's dried after I got the dust nibs. So now I got 1000 grit on the soft block here, and I mean it's the first time I've ever done this color sanding, so I'm just kind of going slow, and I'll usually kind of like just pick a little section, still do my crosshatch stuff. And then what I found is wiping it with a block, with a rag, and just move on, you know, and when that dries you can see where you're at. So now I'll just move on to another area, and I'll give that chance to dry, and I'll come back and I'll see, you know, of course, that I need more to do and where I need to do it. But it's really nice once it dries, you can see where you need to go. So I'll just keep doing that with 1000 grit. Once I get it smooth, I'll hit it with 1500. Okay, so here it is after 1000 grit. You can see I left, you know, there's still a little bit of orange peel in there, and I'm going to go ahead and switch to 1500 now so I can get all of it out. But basically the 1000 just cuts the tops off, saves a little time from me being very cautious and going over it with 1500 alone. So on to 1500 now. Okay, so here's the surface, how it looks after the 1500. You know, there's little spots like right here that the orange peel's not completely gone. I have like little dots here and there and stuff. I'm not sure what that is. Solvent pop maybe, or I'm not sure. See it? And it's down below, and I don't feel comfortable sanding those out. So you know, this isn't a $30,000 paint job. It's me painting for the first time in my garage. Well, not painting for the first time, but I've never wet sanded and tried to make a nice car paint job. So anyway, that's how it looks after the 1500. Now I've got the 3M Trizac 3000 soaking in my water, and I'm going to give that a shot and see what that does. Alright, I like how that came out after the Trizac 3000. Pretty smooth. Of course there's little scratches in it, but that's, you know, I'm just erasing the 1500 grit scratches, so it makes it a little bit easier to polish out by using the 3000. Some people polish after 1500, but I think you got to polish longer. So it went pretty quick, pretty easy, and it's actually pretty smooth. Pretty happy with, you know, what I have here. So, and I know that we'll see if I can get you in there. Little dots and stuff. I know we'll see that once it's polished up, but you know, I can only do so well here, so. And I'm happy with that. That's cool. We'll see how they do after polishing. This is kind of like my test piece. Like I said, first time color sanding and polishing and doing all that stuff, so It's kind of my test piece. So, you know, I'm learning as I go. It's pretty cool now. It's nice and flat, and you know, you can see some reflection in there. My cabinet's there, and the light and stuff. So, pretty cool. It'll look nice once it's polished up. Well, all right. Today was a good day. The sun came out, and I was able to finish the very last painting, the very last parts of the car. Of course, unless I screw them up and have to repaint them. But they came out real nice. I painted these outside, and they actually came out better than the stuff I painted inside. There's like less garbage in the paint. But yeah, got the hood tops and the doors painted. So let that set a couple of days before I color sand them. I did, when I was color sanding, I had to, when I was color sanding, this back quarter kind of turned a little orange color here, and I don't know if I was getting close to the gray primer or what, but tried to fix it and blend it, but that didn't work. So I just went ahead and masked the car off and sprayed this whole quarter again, and it came out really nice. So now I'll take down all the plastic and see what else to do. Okay, well, I forgot to turn on the camera when I was doing the deck lid polishing, so I'm going to continue on with the door. This door's been gone through with 1500 grit and then 3000 grit, and I'm going to start the polishing process. I bought the 3M Perfected rubbing compound, first stage, and Chemical Guys orange compounding pad. That's what I'm going to start off with. And I bought myself a cheap little random orbit polisher buffer off of Amazon. So far it's been pretty good. So anyway, some people say to prime your pad, but other people say you don't need to. So I haven't been doing, I've tried it both ways. I didn't see a difference, but you know, 4 good pea-sized drops the first time on there. Spread it around. They say work in a smaller area, like a 2x2 area or something like that. I just been working a little bit of the door here at a time. So basically just very light pressure. If you put too much, the random orbit part stops spinning, and you want it to spin so that the compound can cut. So just, I put little marks on here so I could tell that it was spinning. see how we did on the first pass here. Usually I've had to go like anywhere from 3 to 6 passes on the compound to get all the scratches out. I could still see there's a lot of scratches in there. Maybe you can see the scratches. I'll just keep redoing the compounding or the rubbing compound on the orange pad till all those scratches are out. And then I'll just continue to do the whole door that way, and once the whole door doesn't have any scratches in it, then I'll switch to a different polish and a different pad. Okay, so there's round one. Now I'm going to switch over to a white Chemical Guys polishing pad and 3M's Perfected number 2 polish. But you can see all the scratches are removed. So now I'm just going to shine it up a little more. Okay, and finally the second polishing is done, and that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to reassemble the car, and I'll have to wait a while before I put a coat of wax on it. But you probably can't tell with the camera, but it's pretty good, pretty nice. It's not perfect by any means. Got a lot of flaws in it, but it's not bad for a garage job. All right. Okay, so finally got all the paint done, car put back together, and just came back from a first little initial test drive with the chop top, and vision's still decent and sitting lower. It's nice. I like it. And paint came out well for being a garage and outdoor type of a paint job. I don't know if you can see anything but just red, but it did come out nice. Can't really tell that it was chopped anywhere, you know. Everything's nice and smoothed out. Came out well. I still have to, I made some patterns for my interior panels of my trunk lid, but I need to get some more material and stuff to cut them out. I did paint inside where you'll see it, but I didn't bother painting way inside where the panels will cover it. Change the headlights from black to the same color red. I think it kind of flows a little better. I still got to color sand and polish out my hood and hood sides. I'll run it with the hood and hood sides. I like the way it looks. I think it looks a little cleaner with the hood and hood sides on, so I just haven't got to that yet. It's my last 4 pieces to do that to. I did paint the interior also. The dash is the same red and everything now. And as far as, I had to chop these rear quarter panel upholstery pieces. I had to cut those down 3 inches, but the rest of the stuff pretty much fit. I added these little door seals at the bottom. I'm going to paint these screws black so they're not so noticeable. They're supposed to go from here where your door panel attaches down, but they weren't long enough for that. They still had a gap, so I closed the door and then I slid them up from the top to close the gap. I slotted these holes right here so I could move the gasket up and down, and then I open the door and tighten them up, and it feels nice. It's pretty quiet in there now when you're driving around with the windshield closed. Oh, but anyway, door shuts nice and solid. But yeah, that was a long, what, 4 months I think it was, working on the car, getting that chop done. Tell you what, it'd be a lot easier to do the chop when you're building the car instead of like I did. Built it and then decided to chop it later. And that red with a mixture of Summit Performance Red and Summit British Racing Green, that mixture came out nice. I like the red tone to it. So anyway, all done, ready for cruising. Thanks for watching, everybody.